Greetings, people. Greetings. Welcome to my life. So today, I want to talk about a topic about Bob Geldof. Bob Geldof, the Irish rocker who saved Africans, who saved Ethiopians from the famine, who went there posing with starving Africans, who loves being a white savior, who portrays himself as like a savior, but really he went there to help, to get involved in a Cold War battle of helping some rebels. So Bob Geldof was used to bring down the Ethiopian regime during the Cold War. I believe, yeah, and Bob Geldof was used as a tool to put his neck on Ethiopia, to put his neck on the reputation of Ethiopia, and to disgrace it every year, reminding and terrorizing Black people that they were starving and white people saved them. So Bob Geldof is a tool, a white savior tool of Irish background. Instead of him celebrating and remembering, I don't know, the Irish potato famine, where a lot of Irish people starved, he kind of has focused on the Ethiopian famine, which was bad. And I also believe that the Ethiopian famine was caused by weather manipulation, because during that time there was a Cold War going on in the Horn of Africa. They manipulated with the weather, made it extra hot to defeat the then Ethiopian government, which was the military junta, military government Derg. So I believe that there was definitely weather manipulation to cause a drought, because it was in that region of East Africa, there was a drought. And the famine, which obviously caused famine of the people that were living there, but they then weaponized that, and then blasted pictures of starving Black Ethiopians to sort of ritually humiliate Black people, and then having written such a disgusting song as "Do They Know It's Christmas" in a world that's in a country, in a African barren land where there's no river. And basically the most disgusting, horrific, horrible song written by a bunch of white artists who have such low disregard and use their media to save these starving Africans. So, and then it's like when they want to feel relevant again, they celebrate Band Aid every year, like a way of getting money on behalf of these starving Africans. And it just did so much damage to Ethiopians and Black people, because if you look at the history of Ethiopia, Ethiopia is a beacon of freedom, a beacon of hope for Black people globally who resisted colonization. And this famine was used to beat the country on its head as the face of poverty. And, complete lies were spread about the fact that, do they know it's Christmas? Like that, even though the countries are one of the first countries that embraced Christianity, and there are so many relics and historical churches involving Christians. The song, is a lie to distort that image. And if you go to the galleries, you can see pictures of the Virgin Mary icons, in the British Museum, which they took from Ethiopia previously, which the British took. So now Fuse ODG, he's an amazing Afro performer, Afrobeats performer. He's from Ghana, amazing, and he's been on a mission to change the image of Africa, and he did that with his West African music, and he had a movement called Tina, Tina. This is the new Africa. So, we've had amazing music from West Africa, the Afrobeat. And in 2015, Bob Geldof and his Band Aid crew had the cheek to ask Fuse ODG to come and perform on the Band Aid, and Fuse ODG said no, unless you change the lyrics because the lyrics are racist. Bob Geldof said no because Bob Geldof is a horrible racist white supremacist who's basically doing his job. He goes around speaking on behalf of Ethiopians. He knows the country very well, knows it very well, but he portrays a different image to his white Western colleagues. When he's in Ethiopia, he knows, because he's there getting involved in politics, arming rebels. So he's just a spy. Like he's not serious. And then he goes on Western media saying, "Oh, it's just a bunch of, you know, dissident Africans, dissident Ethiopians," like really dismissive towards Ethiopia. And I just think, you know, did they even bother asking anybody from Ethiopian background how they feel about Band Aid effing 40? May you may you be cursed with that crappy song. No, they didn't, because they don't have much respect for Ethiopians, because that image of the starving Ethiopians has been imprinted in their minds. They've dehumanized them so much that they haven't even bothered to interview them. And they're going around having discussions about Band Aid 40, why it's so bad. And that's why I believe that this issue will cause a World War III. And it will involve Ethiopia, it may involve Russia. And I believe that the disrespecting of and the downgrading and the ritual humiliation, which has been going on for 40 years of the Ethiopian nation, you know, is just not good. And others are now, fighting on the side of the Ethiopians that they need to stop disrespecting the country. We know that there was weather manipulation for it to be that family. It was tragic. But there has been so many other tragedies all over the world. Why is it that they specifically have to remember Band Aid and the Ethiopian famine of 1983? Why is that continuously being remembered? Like, because it is a ritual humiliation, a ritual humiliation to remind the Ethiopian country that this is what you are. And the only thing I can come up with is this is, spiritual warfare, like a Cold War in a spiritual warfare, which has never ended. The Cold War is still happening now. And Ethiopia just has always wanted to shake off this image that they have plastered globally about the country, the Ethiopian country, and used it and weaponized it against the nation. And I believe that this new thing that they're trying to cook up and create a Christmas #1 to remember the great Ethiopian family. How disgusting, like how sick can you be to remember all those that died and talk about how much money you raised and how you saved them. Like it's like white supremacy reconquested or times two, like literally. It's so wrong, it's so degrading. You even have white people like saying it just is not right, and then they keep pushing it. And I think it's going to reach a level of, it might spark something, because the lyrics are just disgusting about there's no river when there's the River Nile coming from the country. They even built a dam on there. So it's like denying the existence of the country and what it has. The fact that, do they know it's Christmas despite the Virgin Mary and Jesus and Joseph seeking refuge there? Of course they know it's Christmas. It's a Christian country. There's lots of churches. There's lots of crosses, and the country is association. But with this record, it wants to erase that about it. And I think it's just so disrespectful. Like, it not only affected Ethiopians, it affected Black people globally. Like, because it was so racist, it was so done in such a nasty way, and repetitively talked about, and you have the reporters like their whole career was, talking about the Great Famine, and I just think this is going to be like a geopolitical thing, I think, anyway. But yeah, anyhow, just wanted to talk about that. How do I close this thing? Oh.